Okay people, this is possibly in my eyes the best bike in the world. Here we have, hopefully you can hear me now, the best bike in the world. As you can see, it is a 700cc Honda Deauville. Now, all the Deuvilles in my eyes are brilliant, and they're kind of so averagely average, which is what's so good about them. But this is no 6 plate, a 700cc Deauville, and I'm selling it, so he's coming tonight, so I thought I'd better nip out and give you a quick tour on what I think is the best bike in the world. This one, you won't believe how much I had to let this go for. 39,000 mile, and I only got 1350 for it. But somebody did come and look at it, and the fork seal was leaking, and then they informed me it had no MOT, which is like your warrant of fitness or whatever you want to call it in other countries where they measure whether it's any good. So what can I tell you about a Deauville apart from being dull? Now, they aren't as dull as what everyone says, but they're not exactly lively, and I kind of describe them as doing everything averagely, you know. They're averagely semi-quick, they're average at handling, they're average on parts, they're average on fuel, but they are being run by Honda's V-twin, which they have in Transalps and all sorts of things. This one does have ABS, it does have fuel injection, it does have an automatic choke, so it is pretty simple. I mean, I do prefer my Alp, but that's because I prefer my Alp and I love my Alp. So here we go. Now, it's not lively by any sort of take on the world of biking. It's not lively, but it's all right, you know. I mean, if you need to join a motorway or traffic quickly, best bike in the world. It really is the best bike in the world. I mean, I prefer the older ones, but even the older ones have still got the hiss system, this alarm system, which can be temperamental. But I mean, you can get around it by, when it goes wrong, by soldering diodes in. I need to do a video on that as well. I don't know what to say in regard to selling one of these, because if you ever see one, buy it. I mean, they are cheap as chips what they are. I've just had to do a fork seal. It's £22 sterling for fork seal, and that includes dust cover, and it was nice and easy to do. Somebody had already been in there and copper slipped everything, and it was just a nice job to do. So, Rideability, they're comfy. They are really comfy. Not as comfy as a pan, but they are comfy. I can't fault them in any way really on the comfort side of it. The position's good. Everything that you would want is in front of you. Heated grips are a must if you're a pussy like me and you've had chemo, so you need to keep your handies warm. And I mean, they do just everything averagely, you know. I want to say that they're enjoyable, because, well, they kind of are enjoyable, you know. I get on this and ride it to Foy, and it's absolutely amazing. It really is amazing, and that's what you want, isn't it? I work with bloody loonies, so it's nice to have a nice relaxing spin when you finish riding. And to be honest, that's all we ride for, isn't it? To enjoy it, rather than to go whiz whiz whiz, get off and my back hurts. Leg positions on these are okay. I'm 5'8"ish, have no problem with it. She's already been down to Newquay from Plymouth, so that's a 50-mile trip there and back for her MOT. Got my favourite MOT people, Beaumont's in Newquay. You will not find a better, more honest bunch of guys. So Richard's an absolute darling. So I mean, there's nothing I can say on leg position really. I would have expected better wind protection, but you tend not to get good wind protection. I'm not too sure what this arse is doing, and he can certainly drive if he wants. And I mean, they've got a nice tone to them. It's not a bad tone. Parts aren't expensive. Nothing's expensive on them really. I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day. He's beginning to annoy me, this one. What's he playing at? Think he's lost? Maybe lost. So, yeah, wind protection, I thought you'd get more. I mean, this is a bit of a shit screen. If you're going to get one, I would get the bigger screen, one that has the like the Givey touring one, you know, the one that's a bit bigger, so you get the wind resistance, because that's the only thing. My Alp, I think, has got a better wind resistance than this one. So I will moan at that one. Visibility, if you had a wing mirror, is pretty good, but we ain't got one. Overall, I mean, they're brilliant. They're just average, you know. They just do everything average, you know. Average on fuel, average to ride. Don't get too excitable on it. You won't find yourself losing, well, I say you won't find yourself losing your license. I cruised up at, allegedly I may have been going 80, but obviously I've stuck to 70 as that is the speed limit. So I mean, that's that side of it. I forgot my bloody phone. Looks like it, doesn't it? Let's hope I don't bloody crash then and need it. Never mind, right, I got my phone, never mind, I've got my GoPro. So, yeah, what can I say about this thing? If you're going to get a bike that you want to get on, go to work, ride to work, finish, get on, after work, ride home, and bumble about, this is it, innit? This is the bike. I don't care what people say about having a GS BMW. I mean, if I was going to go touring, as into Spain, I mean, the Alp was ready to go Spain, but because of COVID, yeah, it didn't go anywhere. And then we had Brexit, so that was the end of me going anywhere. So it's a little bit annoying on that side. But to be honest, if the Transalp wasn't ready, I'd have took this, because it's basically the same thing, but this has got shaft drive, so it's even better. So as for usability, it's just great. It is just great. I mean, this has got ABS, so there's a couple of times this has saved my bacon, I think, considering how I drive or ride through all the rain and shit and everything. And you'll see that if I do close-ups on this thing, because it's an absolute bag of poop. Cool, these are taking their time. And there you go, we're off. Filtering, completely legal. Although I am quite nice when I filter. I'm not a thug who'll fly up and frighten motorists. How much fuel we got? Not a lot. And I mean, being on a bike is just the best way to get around any city, wherever you are in the world. So I'm just going to keep riding until this phone goes dead. Brakes, average. No, I've got to say they're good actually on this thing. They really are good. I've anchored up a few times, and because she's got ABS, it is amazing. I would say a better ABS system than the Pan Euro. It's probably the same, but there's a lot of difference in the weight. Like I said, this one's being sold. To have a bike that does so many things so well, you won't go wrong buying a Deauville. And I mean, it's a lot of bike for not a lot of money. They are suffering with corrosion compared to the old ones, but I think that's like any new bike. Any new bike is absolutely shit at being resilient to corrosion. I mean, the weather hasn't changed in this country. It's still pissed down and rain. It still gets salt chucked on the road. But the state of this lower stanchion, when I took it apart, the actual aluminium stanchion, not the chrome. Look, the chrome's pitted to shit as well. But they just seem really poor when it comes to resilience to corrosion. And that's not what you want. Oh, bollocks. Oh, bollocks. I should have been in the bus lane. And that's your other thing, isn't it? I wasn't yapping so much. So, bus lanes everywhere. And that's the way to beat everything. Just get in a bus lane. If I can flick in, I will hop in that bus lane. But I'm not going to be able to, am I? And the other thing is, you tend not to worry. It's almost like, it's like the Prius world. It's like the Prius world of bikes, this thing. You don't get Robbie Rage. For those of you who don't know, I'm Cornish Rob, and Robbie Rage is obviously road rage, but it's Robbie. So yeah, I don't get Robbie Rage that much, and I find it really difficult to get Robbie Rage in. I was going to go in the bus lane, but fuck it, I won't bother now. To get Robbie Rage in or on a Deauville. As for balance, stability at junctions, which to be honest is really important. I think people underestimate the importance of being balanced. I mean, I've got both feet flat on the floor, my knees are still bent, and I'm 5'8", so it's not like you've got to be a lanky git. I can't say whether this thing's had any sort of lowering adjustment, but if you're short in the leg, I would consider one of these, because it's really important on bikes, especially if you're learning. If this is your first big bike, I think it's a perfect first big bike. You know, if you want to learn how to ride and you're going to be, I mean, I did 14,000 miles on my first bike 20 plus years ago, and that was an XJ Diversion 600. So I mean, if you want something you can ride, you see how he's on his toes there. I don't like being on toes. It's got all the kit though, look. Just as I have got all my kit. See this shine on that number plate. Didn't even see what that was, to be honest. A lot of these bikes are nice, but they're high up, and I don't like high up bikes. He says after having a trans out, and now we've got 3 of us all going, so it's just great. I mean, that's obviously a brand new puppy, full of electronics. This thing's got electronics, and I'm a little bit against electronics, especially when you've got something that's designed to be going off-road and in the mud and the shit. You don't want electronics. Jesus, the last thing you want is electronics. I mean, I saw a Ducati and the bloody oil cooler was like right down low where the back wheel was, so if you get a stone, that's it, it's gone. So I mean, this is it. I mean, I don't want, if you want something that you don't want to care about, just get a Deauville. I mean, that's a cracking big thing now. You drop that BMW, it's going to go pop, innit? And you can see that thing having software issues. He's just looking to slip over. And I mean, who wants that? Who wants a bloody bike where you're in the middle of nowhere? Funnily enough, that Ewan McGregor thing with the bike, that was an ABS unit that went tits up, didn't it? But you see, I mean, it's quite stable to shoot to the front on. And the Deauville takes it. So, and I mean, you don't care too much about, oh yeah, there's a gap there, oh fuck it, I don't care, I'm on Deauville. And it's really funny, people say, what's the best bike you've had, Rob? And I've had everything from huge Kawasaki things to, as in the Voyager that's on my other videos, to my slab, which is my baby, my GSXR 750 985. I've had 10 years, I've had fucking everything. S-Rads, Z650s. I've had so many things, and if people said, oh Rob, what do you reckon I should buy? Oh, and it's all horses for courses, but you really can't go wrong with a Deauville. You really can't go wrong. I mean, they're just brilliant bikes. I mean, we're going to hop off. If I've still got battery and my things going, we're out onto Dartmoor in a minute, which is another great thing. I'm used to Newquay and being by the sea, but oh, look at the puppies. That's not a real dog though, is it? Not like Minala. I'm used to being by the sea, but I don't mind Dartmoor. We'll see how far we can get before my thing goes out. My missus is getting the boy from school, so that's pretty cool. That big bloody great big BMW. You got to check out C90 Adventures and the German Hitler going nuts because he's done a thing where he's Hitler's the head of BMW, and sort of you've told everyone you can go around the world on the C90, and there's the C90 guy doing it on the C90 and putting it into bags and stuff. I mean, I'm going to go right round this roundabout. I mean, handling's alright. It's a lot better now I've done that shock. So, I mean, there is a bit of... You can have a bit of fun with this thing. I mean, it does handle. And it will twitch. I mean, you can flick it quite easy. So, I mean, it's great. And it's not a scooter. So people still wave at you, and I'm a big one for waving because we're all in the same boat, cyclists. Or motorcyclists, not bloody cyclists, death wishers. I mean, the gearbox is, well, it's not as clunky as a Quacker. But it's not as smooth as most Hondas, but that could just be this thing. I mean, she stood up for a long time. So, I don't know. I mean, it's only done 39,000 miles, so it's not like it's going to have bedded in much. And a lot of my miles are in straight lines. So, did a birdie just poop on me? So it's not like it's sort of an awesome thing. If this is still going, I'm going to pop to Tavi, I think. So now we're on Dartmoor. It's beautiful. Well, it is today. I can remember my missus took me out and said, oh, let's go to Dartmoor. It was foggy as hell. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And she's like, oh, it is nice, honest. Can't remember if we stopped for a bit of Rudy's then as well. Never mind though. So, I mean, if you want a bike, an all-rounder, I think sums it up. If you can have an all-round bike that's pretty average at everything, get a Deauville, because you will use it. If you're going to ride it all the bloody time, and you want something that you are going to ride all the bloody time, then it can't be a better bike. Shaft drive, so you don't have to worry about that. Comfy. A well-balanced mid-range bike. I mean, it's a 600. It's quite heavy. The guy just buying this said, oh, it was 200 and something kilo, which is pretty big. And I mean, the 700cc engine is smooth. Sometimes I think maybe an extra gear would be good, but I mean, that's everything, isn't it? I've always felt like you had an extra gear, and then that just made you go quicker. She'll travel at 70 quite smooth. I mean, I'm doing what, 50, and she's quite smooth. There's no big pulls to one side. It says that's probably me. So there's no big pulls to one side. It's a relatively well balanced bike, but it's an old bike now. The Honda's been out, the Deauville has been out for a number of years, and they haven't really changed anything. You've got the old Revere and the NTV when it first came out unfaired, and then they put like a bathtub fairing on it, and I bought one really cheap with the HIS system that had gone down, this integrated security system, which is a bit wank, but it's a hell of a good system. I mean, it kicks off the fuel pump, kicks off the spark, so it's a real, and it's all built into the CDI unit. So I went into it and managed to get it going. I tell you, I had that bike for about 4 or 5 years, and it never really went wrong. Fuel pump went one, but apart from the fuel pump going down, which was 14 quid, this is an expensive fuel pump, but hopefully it won't go wrong. I buy posh fuel, the V power stuff and the premium stuff, and I always put that in this thing. Actually, I put that in a lot of my bikes. My bikes never get fuel from scrappers. So coming along here, during the Second World War, you've got Harrowbeer airfield, which I never knew existed, and it's pretty interesting just to go and have a mooch. If you like your history and your Second World War history, I read a story about a B-17 Fortress coming in that was bloody shot to shit, and some bloke had parachuted and got took there, so he knew it was there, and then they were like, oh well, we're either going to ditch in the sea, or he says, I know of an airfield. They're like, no, there's no airfield that's big enough for this, you know, I'm going to land on it. And he did, he landed on it, and it was Harrowbeer, which is just over here. Obviously got Buckland Laddie National Trust, blah 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 blah. And it's just not, oh, I tell you what, it's so warm. I'm in my summer coat, if you notice. I'm in my wife's summer kit rather than my Sparta. I just love Sparta, not Sparta. I'm a Spartan. Oh, I am Cornish. I'm thinking of starting a thing. Cornish lives, here's the airfield. Cornish lives matter. Because I got a few black things and they just think that Black Lives Matter is an absolute piss take. But that's politics if I get into that. But I could just as easily say, oh, I'm an ethnic group, I'm Cornish. So these are like the little bunkery bits where the aeroplanes used to sit. So out there used to be a huge runway, and there's bunkers. These are like there's a bunker built into each one of these, so you'd have an aeroplane sat in there. I'd love to go metal detecting in it. So we're coming up roundabout, go left in Tavi, or you can go straight on over to Dar or Rosses. Give a nod to Rosses. Thank you, Rosses, for being great. Ah, so they won't employ me. Oh, you haven't got a GCC? Oh, he's letting us go. Shall we go? Meow. Oh, and then the bus is going down there. Yoverton. So, oh my god, I'm so enjoying the sunshine, guys. I can't tell you how nice this is. I've spent all winter getting fucking piss wet through. Literally piss wet through. Because it's been really bad. It's been really fun, but it's been really bad. So I mean, you can have fun on this thing. It does move, you know. You can throw it around the corners, and it's such an honest, forgiving bike, you know. If you've come in too fast and you're learning and you shit yourself, just come off everything, you know. Just come off everything, let go of everything and let the bike have the confidence to follow the line you want rather than veering into the traffic. So just follow the lines, just be brave. And I mean, it's not a hooligan machine. People, the police and everyone aren't going to look at you as a hooligan in this. I mean, I certainly don't look at myself as a hooligan on this. And even on the bloody slabby, I'm not a hooligan because it's a slab. You spend more time talking to people than anything else. Oh, I hope this is coming out, this video. So anyway, even if sound isn't great, you got a nice video. And there's Dartmoor. Want all the road, look. And we're off. Get a bit well here. And I really wouldn't want a BMW.